Hey there, my name is David Bolin, and today I will be informing you the difference between objectivity and subjectivity. Why should you listen, you may ask? Those were two really big words. What if I were to tell you that your understanding of these terms can affect your entire worldview? These two terms have played a big role in my life, and I have spent years distinguishing the difference between the two terms in my own life. In the last few weeks, determining how I can explain it to y'all. So no matter what age you are, whether you're working a full-time job, you're a full-time student, whether you're working a full-time job and you're a student, understanding the difference between these two in your daily life is critical to being able to think critically. In this video, I will briefly explain the definition of objectivity and subjectivity, what ideas and terms they affect, and why you should care. So first, what do I mean by subjectivity and objectivity? Subjectivity is defined, I'm just going to give the basic dictionary definitions. It's defined as based on or influenced by personal feelings, tastes, and opinions. In other words, it's something that is not for sure. I like to think of it subject to change. Subjectivity, subject to change. Objectivity is defined as of a person or their judgment not influenced by personal feelings or opinions in considering the representing facts. In other words, something that is objective is right. It cannot be changed because it is what it is. Make sense? I agree. It's still a little confusing. That's why my visual aid today is going to help explain that idea. This is a chicken. Or is it? Stick with me. Using basic terms, tell me what kind of animal this is and how many there are. You got your answer? I hope most of you said this is one chicken, right? This is clearly a chicken. That is an objective truth because we all agree on the terms for this chicken, right? Well, sure. Now, if I were to say this chicken is the best chicken in the world, that would be my subjective opinion. I'm sure y'all would agree because not all y'all would agree that this is the best chicken in the world, would you? No. Now, this gets even more confusing. What if someone were to come in who thought this chicken was called a Kevin? They'd grown up in a different society, and they'd called this chicken a Kevin. Now, in our eyes, they're objectively wrong, and that is their subjective opinion. But in their eyes, they'd grown up, they wholeheartedly believe that this is a Kevin. They think that we're objectively wrong, and that we're using our subjective opinion to call it a chicken. So, here's the question. Is there an actual name for this chicken? As for you to determine. Next, what else does objectivity and subjectivity affect? It's more than you would think. Beyond simple names and definitions, these words define our perception of complex ideas such as morality, truth, and data. You could say that your perception of what is subjective and what is objective defines your idea of right and wrong. This is how these work in basic terms. But many would argue that anything we perceive as objective has a hint of subjection because it is our perception of the matter that made us see it that way. As said by Samuel Tyler, I'm going to quote him here, "During the act of knowledge itself, the objective and subjective are so instantly united that we cannot determine to which of the two the priority belongs." If you're confused, you have the right to be. But it is critical that you are at least thinking about the implications of these terms. So, what did I mean when I said your understanding or belief of these words can affect your entire worldview? Well, I meant just that. Take morality, for instance. Objective morality suggests that there is a fixed moral standard that cannot be changed. But subjective morality suggests that any moral decision is based upon society's best interpretation of right and wrong. Why does that matter to your worldview? Well, if morality is subjective, that means you must come up with the best standard for yourself to follow. Make sense? But if morality is objective, you must do your best to find out what that objective morality is and your best to follow that standard. Whether you believe morality is subjective or objective will completely change your approach to right and wrong, which is one of the most important things for society to understand, the difference between right and wrong. And morality isn't all. You can have objective or subjective data, truth, observations, and basically with any information. It is critical that you understand the difference between these two terms. So, I just explained to you the definitions of objectivity and subjectivity, what ideas the terms apply to, and finally, the relevance of your understanding of them. Deciding what you think is objective and what you think is subjective is one of the most important things to your worldview. As you go through life, be sure to shape your own opinions on the matter so you can have a clear worldview on every area of your life. I'm David. Thanks for listening.